Welcome to this podcast, Holistic Creators, where we share our unique and universal stories about shaping the future for the 4 Ps: people, planet, purpose, and profit. My name is Swanette Kuntze. I'm a mental coach and your host of this show. My intention for this show is to inspire you on your path to a holistic future. So welcome. Welcome to my podcast, Holistic Creators. My name is Swanette and I'm your host. Today, I have a very special guest. Her name is Cathy Nesbitt, and she is a warm advocate and founder of the Cathy's Crawly Composters. This environmental business specialized in vermicomposting. Laughter Wellness is her latest offering. Simple solutions for today's challenges: warm composting, sprout growing, and laughter yoga. So I'm really curious about your topic. I've never heard about a warm advocate, but I'm sure we need that. So tell me a little bit, what is a warm advocate?
Well, I believe my role here is, I think this is why I was put on earth. So it's worm composting in the house. So it's a beautiful solution for anywhere, urban centers like apartments or condos, or people that live in cottage country where there may be bears or wildlife that might get into your compost outside. So this is done in the house with worms. Who doesn't want worms in the house?
Okay, so just for the people that are a little bit afraid of worms crawling through your kitchen, how does this look like?
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful. So the worms are in a container, and you feed them your food scraps and your paper. The worms require both, so it's carbon and nitrogen, just for the composting or the gardening folks. And then the worms convert it all and turn it into black gold. They're the original alchemists.
Okay, so it is like really a box, and you can put in all the leftover you have from your kitchen, like if you clean up veggies or fruits, or like having the rest from having coffee or tea, or what is it that these worms really like to eat, or what are they curious about, what comes in, and then they say, oh yeah, that's for me.
Oh, they really love melon because it's soft and they don't have to do much chewing. They don't have teeth. So it's all your fruit and veg, coffee, tea, cooked pasta and rice. What stays out? It's a big long list what they'll eat. What stays out? No meat, no dairy, no sauce, kind of nothing that will harm the worms. And people that are afraid of worms, they don't need to worry about the worms getting out because the worms can't see and they're eating half their weight. So there's no point in going sightseeing. They're going to stay in the bin so that they can convert the stuff, and they live in the dark, so they want you to feed them and leave them. They're really not pets. They're working, beautiful creatures.
Okay, so and as I understand it, so they are in this box, and I put my stuff in, and they start eating it and creating the compost out of it. And so when do I know that like this is ready, and how do they stay inside? If I see, okay, now whatever, the box is full, and I don't want to bring them out of the box because this is their living environment, so they have to stay in. So I have no clue. I'm really asking, how does this work?
I love it. Oh, this is so beautiful. I'm so happy to be on your podcast, because if you haven't heard of it, maybe some of your listeners have not either. So it's so beautiful. And I love that your podcast is about people, planet, profit. And there was another one, another 4 P, passion, maybe. Purpose. Thank you. Yeah, passion, purpose. Yes, beautiful. That's what my business is, really purpose driven. Let me just say why I started my business. I'm close to Toronto in Canada. And in 2002, our landfill closed and we started exporting garbage to the US. 1,000 trucks a week. Wow. I mean, talk about an environmental disaster and an economic disaster. Our tax dollars hard at work, trucking our garbage around, ridiculous. I had a solution, and I was like, I got a download from the universe. This is what you need to do. And I was like, got all fired up. I, started a business thinking this will be so everybody needs what I have. And then I realized people were afraid of worms, and we don't buy what we need, we buy what we want. People don't want worms in the house. It's a huge message. I've had, it's 20 years I've had my worm business, And I really believe that it's important that we really need these beauties. So I started to do worm workshops. At a certain point, I was like, maybe I should get out of this because, it's hard to make money if people are afraid of what you're selling. But as an entrepreneur, I ebbed and flowed. I added sprout growing. And then 10 years in, I was introduced to laughter yoga. And so now my working title is Cathy Crawly, Laughing Bean Queen. And it's 3 wonderful, sustainable things that we all need, especially during this cuckoo time.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I'm grown up in the countryside. So of course we had our composters outside and they were huge, and we put in everything from the garden. And so for me, it is definitely new that we can have something like that in our house, especially if you are living in a city. And if you buy organic food and veggies and fruits, this is a good solution. But what I also see is that a lot of people buy like, I wouldn't say artificial food, but it's kind of that, like it's manufactured. So sometimes I have a little bit of problems to find the right word, as I'm German and not native English. But it's like produced food, better to say that. And what about that? So sometimes they're leftovers from produced food. Is this fine for them as well? Or do they say, no, I don't like junk food, please give me something better?
Right. So you would leave out any of your packaged goods, all of your junk food would stay out because there would be too much sodium in it. The worms breathe through their skin. They breathe oxygen. So if anyone's thinking, oh, I'm putting my rotting food in, it's going to smell bad. Composting and worm composting is aerobic process, meaning with oxygen. So it should never smell like rotting food. If it does, the oxygen has now been converted into gas. So it's bad for us because we can't breathe methane and the worms can't either. So it kind of is a built-in mechanism for us to know that, oh, there's too much food in. You asked earlier, how do I know when it's ready? So if you have just a container, it's about 3 to 5 months from setup to harvest, and the worms will convert and you'll see that it's all beautiful compost that you can use in your garden. At that point, you would need to harvest manually. So you dump it out, put it in round piles. It's a little bit of work. There are systems. There are beautiful systems for people that, if you have a small space and where you're going to do this harvesting, there are systems, they're tower composters. You start with one tray and there's holes in the bottom of each tray. So then when you add your next one, the worms easily migrate to the next level, leaving behind their black gold. That's what I would recommend for people that are in, apartments or condos without an, outdoor space for harvesting.
Okay, so you said that it is not good for the worms to get whatever junk food, and of course it is not good for human beings neither. So what is good for you is good for the worms, and then of course they can use the leftover material. And so when I don't have a garden, what can I do with the compost? So now I can imagine that people that are in big cities say, okay, perhaps there's a little bit of this green outside of the house, but no, what can I do with the leftover when it is already compost? And I don't have a garden, beautiful. For example, if this is a situation.
Yeah, beautiful. So many people have house plants, so you can certainly fertilize your house plants. If you don't have any plants, grow a plant. If you don't have any plants and it's not your thing, I'm sure that everybody knows somebody that has either a garden or has plants. So it's a beautiful gift. You can wrap it up. Gardeners know the value of the worm compost. So they'd be like, here's some worm poo for you. I love you so much. And they're like, oh my gosh, you do love me.
This is a good idea. So take it, bring it to a friend and share it for some beautiful flowers that are nutrified by this compost, and then you have nice flowers in your house, and the owner of the garden will get the compost. This is a good idea.
And nutrient rich. So I started my business as a waste management tool because we were shipping all that garbage out of the country. Like, shame on us as Canadians, right? My goodness. And double shame on the Americans, by the way, right? Because it's all about money. And that's not the people, it's the governments, right? I'm not saying shame on the Canadian or American people. Oh, I lost my train. I'm being so funny. I got all in my head. Oh yes, I started as a waste management tool, but I quickly realized that what the worms turn this material into is nutrient-rich soil. It's plant food ready to be taken up. When we grow plants, the nutrients come out of the soil into the plant. If we take those plant clippings and throw them in the garbage or do anything other than compost them, we're robbing the soil. Yes, we could grow another plant there. It's soil, right? It's nature. It's not going to be as nutrient rich as the last time if we don't add nutrients in. And we need to feed the soil, not the plant. You know, there's all kinds of these products. Chemical engineers, they've done a great job. They were hired to create this thing and it works, but it does nothing for the soil. It's like the body of where our food grows. It's like if we put junk food in our body, sicknesses may be coming. Yes, we can function because our body's amazing. So too is the earth, but we need to replenish it.
Yeah, for me, this makes totally sense as I had a grandmother and she had this huge garden with all the different fruits and veggies. And of course, she had used the compost and brought it back into the soil and also had different kind of seasons. So one year there on the space were whatever beans, and next year there were potatoes. I don't know about the seasons exactly, but there was always something different. So one of the plants needs a lot of this stuff, and another one needs more of that. And so there was no need to put in chemicals. Because this was a sustainable system somehow, and she grew a lot of veggies and fruits. I can remember because every time I visited her, there was a season for something, and I had to clean up beans and cook them. And so I really have a strong memory on her, being in the soil and doing this kind of stuff. And what I see now is that, especially also in the US, I don't know about Canada, but in the US, there are these massive fields with monoculture, and this is not sustainable. And of course, like if you don't have nutrition in the soil, how can be nutrition in the fruit or the veggie? And so I think this is also kind of a mindset shift, understanding like how is our food, or so to say, food produced right now, and what do we really need to to stay healthy. And especially, we are still in this pandemic. Everybody is speaking about health. So what it is that we need to feed ourselves very good to stay healthy. And can you speak a little bit about this mindset that perhaps is good, or will suit people that want to buy this kind of composter, for example?
Yeah, it's interesting during this this time that we're in. Demand for what I'm doing has increased. I've been waiting 20 years to be this busy. Hallelujah. Because at the beginning, back in March 2002, when it started to take hold, our schools were closed down, and they didn't reopen for the rest of the school year. So that was, months that the kids were online, and the parents were homeschooling. Some were, everyone was working from home at the beginning. So I think at the beginning, people were looking for a project for the children, like, oh, we need something for the kids to do. Oh, we'll get them a worm bin. Won't this be great? And then as time went on, in Canada, we import about 60% of our food, 60, right? We have long winters. We don't have a great growing season. It's short. So we can't grow all our food, at least in fields. We do have a big greenhouse industry. So when our border closes, it's a big problem. And now we're hearing about supply chain and, all all the breaks in the chains. So I think as time went on, it became more urgent. I better learn more about food. Maybe we should grow something. And I'm advocating for, yes, manage your waste for sure. Like imagine if we weren't trucking around this stuff, we would have all that money and people would be composting. So then they would probably be gardening or growing something. So even if you don't have a garden, you can always grow you can get like a plant pot and grow a lettuce, or you can grow some herbs, you can grow something. And when you grow your own food, you're gonna cherish that food. It tastes better, you know, you're involved, and it's so gardeners are hopeful because we plant seeds. You don't get your reward right away. You have to wait months, but you have to tend to it. You got to go and water it, and you got to talk to it. Not everyone does that part.
Yeah, but definitely it is good. Like we have seen studies where scientists had different, the same kind of plant in different pots. And they spoke the words to the ones, you're so beautiful, I love you, you're so pretty, you're growing well, like this kind of things. And to another plant, oh, you're ugly, you will never make it. And yeah, so what are you, or who are you? And you could see that they grow differently, even though they got the same amount of water, same sunlight, whatever the plants need. And so I think that there is this energy as well that helps plants to grow. So if you love your plants and let them help to grow, speaking to them is absolutely useful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's energy. Absolutely. It's all energy. And, you know, just like all three of my offerings are about energy, aerobic versus anaerobic. And like, it's just, I wondered for a long time, how did all of these things, why are they seem so random? You know, but they really are not. And during this time, it's really come together. You know, I have a sprout growing piece, and my sprout grower, you know, in 2002, when I started, I was at an event, my very first exhibiting event. There was a man selling the sprout grower that I'm now selling, but I used it for 10 years first. And I knew nothing about sprouts or sprouting, and he's a ballroom dancer. He's 92 now. He was 72 at that time. And he introduced me to sprouting, and I was like, wow, this is so great. Like 2002 was a huge year. Started my worm business, learned about sprouting, and have been eating sprouts every day for 20 years now. It's a huge part of my health plan. And I'm 59, have no health issues, take no prescription drugs, no multivitamin. I'm high energy, vibrant. I'm alive. I mean, really alive, not just like, ooh, struggling along. I'm super positive, you know. It really is what we put in our body and how we move our body and our thoughts. It all goes together.
Yeah, so we are back to this topic of the mindset. So if people really want to be healthy, yeah, it's body, mind, and soul that needs to be healthy. Yeah. And now, what can we do? Yes, growing sprouts. This is definitely something that you can do at home. Yeah, you only need a little plate or whatever, and so alfalfa or beans, whatever you use. And as soon as you have the right conditions, they can grow. So what I sometimes do, I have this glasses, and I use them to grow the sprouts inside, and this is working very well. Even though I'm living in Madeira, so I'm in an island, a subtropical island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and yeah, so I have banana trees and orange trees and everything around me. But even though having these sprouts are very healthy, and you can put them in the salad or on your bread or something like that. So yeah, this is something also people can do at home, don't they?
Absolutely. Sprouts are the original fast food. You know, they grow in like the mung beans are the ones that I'm taking as like that I consider my health plan. I do all kinds of sprouts, but the mung beans are the ones that I don't go one day without. So they contain fiber, protein, minerals, everything our body needs. They're hydrating. So as soon as we start to get thirsty, we're already getting dehydrated. regenerative. So I'll use Alzheimer's. It's a degenerative illness. Sprouts are regenerative. So they're regrowing our cells, fortifying. Biogenic. So they give us energy. When we eat live food, we get the energy from that live food that we've just eaten. So eating them raw is the way to go. Hydrating out. Oh, alkalizing. So when a lot of our food is acidic, and so when we eat acidic food, our body it upsets the balance of our pH. So eating alkaline food or drinking alkaline water helps to balance the pH. Hydrating, alkalizing. Oh, and they contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes than raw vegetables. So as we age, if we're not eating either sprouts or raw vegetables, as we age, our body's using our reserves. And as we start to age, we may get digestive enzyme illness, and we go to the doctor, and the doctor will say, here's a prescription for enzyme pills. So instead of taking a pill, hopefully it has some live element in there. You know, like growing your own, it just makes.
Yeah. So somehow you're frozen? No.
Am I frozen?
Yeah, no, it's working again. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, understanding about this pH, I think this is also very important, as there are studies out that as long as you have your body in an acid level, you are more, it can happen even more that you get cancer, for example. So coming back to a lower pH, it means like your basic pH, it means that this will help you also to stay healthy from these sicknesses that are very common already.
Yeah, absolutely. Cancer takes place in an acidic body. You're right. So if you've got an alkaline body, cancer can't live there. And talking about, like, again, my next thing is the laughter. So laughter is the best medicine. We've all heard that. I say, have you had your daily dose? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, the love drugs, versus cortisol that we secrete when we're stressed. And I think maybe one of the most important parts of, you know, adding laughter to your daily life is the oxygen. So we can live without food and water for a few days. We might be grumpy and uncomfortable. We could do it. We could only live without oxygen for a few minutes. An oxygenated body cancer cannot survive in an oxygen-rich body. So a cancer cell will survive in acidic conditions and anaerobic, so without oxygen. So where they're being deprived, where conditions are not good, cancer's like, oh, yum, 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 and they take over. So if you're like laughing, you're looking around, you're feeling, because when we're laughing, we're looking up, ah, ha, 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 we feel, and we raise our vibration. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I think there are two topics in. So one is definitely what is the frequency you're in during the day. So what I see, a lot of people are in fear, scarcity, anxiety, the feeling of helplessness, insecurity, and these are all very low vibrations. And with that, of course, with fear we have, or with anger, also we have like adrenaline and all these hormones that are destroying our body for a long time. Yeah, if it is only for a short time, of course we need that. If the tiger appears, now we have to run, we need adrenaline. But now being in this kind of stress mode for month and month and month, this is also toxic for our body. And then what can we do to raise our frequency to the higher frequency? Laughter is, I think, a perfect way to do that, no? To be happy and enjoying what you're doing, loving what you're doing. So these are high frequencies. Yeah? So
absolutely, yeah. So when we're all those low vibrating, stressed, angry, frustrated, anxious, nervous. I mean, the first thing I would say to anyone listening that's experiencing any of those things, please stop or limit your exposure to mainstream media, because it's not your friend. I mean, it's just there, like giving out numbers every day about where we're at, and you know, all the statistics and the numbers. What the heck do they mean? Like, they're just really scary. We're just like, all those numbers. But what it doesn't even, not that it doesn't mean anything. It means something to somebody. But that just gets us in that fear mode. Oh, I better not go out because whatever, you know. And then it's so uncertain. So what I would suggest to people is, you know, start laughing. If you need to watch videos, that's okay. But laughter yoga is not about fancy pants or poses. It's intentional laughter exercises. We just decide to laugh. And which is why coming into a club is really a great idea. It's a little bit challenging to laugh for 5 to 10 minutes by yourself. It's like, oh, or if you're standing on the street, you know, it's going to be, people are going to think something's wrong. But I do that now, you know. I'll wear my laughter shirt, or I have laughter cards that I carry with me, and I'll be laughing, and people will say, oh, you seem like you're in a good mood or something. And then I say, I'm a laughter teacher, hand them my card, come to my class. You know, just because if people notice, I do a lot of school workshops with my worms, and it makes me sad when the young kids, you know, grade 2 or grade 3 are saying to me, oh, they put up their hand, how come you laugh so much? Because I laugh when I talk. It's just part of my lexicon now. It's just who I am. I'm a laughing lady. It's fine. And I kind of hits my heart. I'm like, that is something you ought not be noticing. You know, you need to be laughing more as children. But today it's so stressful that even children are being affected by, you know, the stress instead of just being carefree. You don't get to be carefree when you're an adult, unless you're a laughter teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely. So it is about the frequency, but it is also, as you said, about bringing in oxygen into your body. And because people at this time, I don't know about Canada, but in other countries, I see that people have to wear the mask even outside and are asked to stay inside of their house, like isolate themselves. And both things, like being in a house, not having fresh air, and then being outside where there is perhaps fresh air, if you're not in a big city, but yeah, there should be fresh air somewhere. And you're wearing a mask, so you're breathing in your own carbon dioxide and not breathing in the oxygen and breathing out your carbon dioxide, yeah? And even not breathing deeply into your lungs. It's like only a little amount that you breathe in and out, and not, if you laugh, you're really breathing in deeply and letting the air out again. Yeah, so I think this is also something that need to be mentioned.
Yeah, when you're laughing, you know, you're not even controlling your breathing. It's not like, oh, I better breathe. You're just like, ha, 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 which is expelling. You have to eventually go and take a beautiful deep breath in, because, well, you'll pass out otherwise. You have to, and you just are like, ha, 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 and your stomach hurts and your cheeks are hurting. Those are the laughter muscles. They really, so I said, you know, laughing for 5 to 10 minutes. It really is a cardiovascular workout, and 10 to 15 minutes of sustained belly laughter has lots of equivalents. You know, they say like 300 sit-ups or what, you know, 30 minutes on a rowing machine, whatever it is. But laughter is just so much more fun, and it's the connection. When we laugh in a group, we get socially bonded. We like each other better. So imagine for the corporate setting, for team building, for creativity, just for breaking down those barriers, you know, when you have that friction between people, when you laugh together, now you're out of emotion. Now now you can come together and have a conversation because you're connected. You got that angst out of the way.
Yeah, I totally see that. It is not only bringing up the vibration of your body, you're bringing in oxygen, and you're bringing in like the hormones that are like oxytocin, like the ones of the bonding hormones, like, you know, the ones you need for good relationships, and yeah, to be an empath and feel with other people. So I think this is also something that is important right now. What I see is that there is a kind of a splitting in the society, and a lot of people feel on the one side or on the other side, or even being totally isolated. So this feeling of connectiveness or being together is also not disappearing, but it is, I don't know, going down.
Yeah, it's against the fear, you know. You have people there's ones that are like, oh, nothing's happening, I'm just going to be free will. And then there's the others on the other side, like that haven't been out for 2 years. Not quite 2 years yet, but you know, that they're just not going out. No, I'm just not going to go out. But I think if you don't even go out, how is that affecting our mental health? You know, I think, how do you torture people by isolating them? And all these people on their own, I am in a beautiful, I love my husband, 33 years, you know, we still care about each other and we run our business together. So lucky us. I know there's a lot of people, either they're living with somebody that they don't want to be living with, so now they're 24/7 together with someone you don't want to be with. That's not nice. Or the opposite, you're on your own, and now that you know, you're not getting any social interaction. And I think about the children, you know, they're just developing. They really need to play with their friends and, you know, get exposed to the microbes so they can build a natural immunity. It's missing today.
Yeah.
Without going down the COVID rabbit hole, you know, of whatever our beliefs are.
No, we don't need to speak about that, but understanding what is supportive for your own immune system, how this gets activated or even boosted. No? So being a girl growing up in the country, of course, we always had dirty hands, like, no? It was picking up the apple from the neighbor tree, like, no, rubbing it on the dirty jeans. Oh. Whoop. So now it's clean. I can't see that there's, yeah, exactly. And yeah, so my mother always said a little bit of soil will clean the stomach. So something like this in translation. But yeah, so this is true. If you are in contact with soil and even with the worms and with good food, and this will be a good immune booster, despite all like laughing and movement of your body, and also connecting. Yeah, it's also being in contact on the soul level, like understanding who is your tribe, who is supporting you, who has good energy, but also who is bringing you down. Yeah, so perhaps also a time, perhaps you can raise some people up, but yeah,
let some go.
Yeah, sometimes it is necessary to step away for a while and say, so no, every time I'm in contact with this person, this will bring down my energy, but we need to be like in a good energy to be healthy, and like having a strong immune system. Whatever is outside there, whatever virus will come our way, there will always be some of them. Yeah, this is normal. Yeah. We are exposed to them 24/7. Yeah, this is our normal life. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so it is not only about one virus or another one, but it is about understanding how to have a healthy lifestyle with in your body, mind, and soul. Yeah.
And when we have our hands in the soil, either in the worm bin or in the garden, we can't be on our technology, because it would get dirty and we'd lose our connection or whatever. So, and there are actually antidepressant microbes in the soil, but you got to get your hands in the soil to benefit from that experience. Yeah.
So we already figured out what we can do. And I'm so happy that you gave us, my audience, so different ideas. If they are now curious, how can they come in contact with you? Are you giving courses, or how can they come to you for getting this kind of warm boxes? Or can you give a little bit of information about this?
Yeah, so my worm website is the best place. You can find all my offerings there. It's Cathy'sComposters.com. Cathy'sComposters.com. I should know. And I would like to actually invite anyone that wants to check out laughter yoga. I have a free laughter club every Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern. It's on Zoom, and they can get there through cathysclub.com. That's my laughter page. And come and check it out. It's 30 minutes of super fun self-care. The fun's on you. I'll provide the content, but you got to have fun. And yeah, so that's, I would recommend everyone come to my Tuesday club.
Okay, so I will put in the links in the description for everybody who is listening right now. And I think this would be super fun being part of your laughter yoga, and perhaps you can also show some of these nice worms and people can have fun with that.
Absolutely. Actually, it's funny because there's a lot of crossover. A lot of my worm customers come, and so sometimes we talk about worms and laughter, and I have a different laughter club than others.
Yeah, so Cathy, thank you so much for being my guest today on this show. It was a very nice conversation. I learned a lot about worms and how you are the advocate of the worms. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Swanette. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for listening or watching my podcast, Holistic Creators. If you want to know more about how I can help and support you, have a look at my website, Spiritual-Changemaker.com. You can also join my Facebook group, Spiritual-Changemakers-Community. Stay tuned for the next episode by subscribing to this channel. And you also can check the previous episodes